Hi everyone, it's Ray here from City Fan TV. Hope you're all doing very well. Early start for me today. It's just about 5 o'clock in the morning and just having a look around. A lot of traffic at this early hour in Caerphilly. It's where I'm working this week. Right, a lot has been going on at Manchester City in a very short space of time. We've had, obviously the squad has been announced and it's going off to the tour to the Far East, to Japan and South Korea. Hopefully we'll get some reporting from Mike from South Korea about that. We've had news that Riyad Mahrez is going to Saudi Arabia for about 30 million quid, potentially with a little bit of add-ons, but the headline figure is 30 million quid. We've had news that it's almost done. The Guardiola deal is almost done. It's almost there. And all this is kind of fallen out in the last 24, 36 hours. Another bit of information. It's something I've told you last week before, I think as well, when Mike Long from Bolt from the Blue podcast, he asked me the question about Bernardo Silva. What's happening? And he actually asked me the question about all the players that were rumoured to be potentially leaving. And I give him my honest opinion. Okay, I'm not in the know. I've got to say that up front. And he asked me about Bernardo Silva and what was happening with it, what was going to happen with Bernardo Silva. And I told him I expected Bernardo Silva to stay. And I remember talking to Bernard on this very channel about Bernardo Silva as well. And I said I expect him to stay, and I expect him to give his all, like he has done over the last 2 seasons, where he's been. It's quite. There's a lot of noise about him wanting to leave. There's noise about Barcelona wanting to sign him. I think we had the president Juan Laporte, I think that's his name, or Laporta. He said that they wanted Bernardo Silva. But I said, looking at it from a non-in-the-know perspective, nothing seemed right. Nothing seemed right about Bernardo Silva going to Barcelona. They cannot afford him. It's as simple as that. I've said this time and time again over the last few seasons. When Barcelona are struggling with their finances, when they talk about wanting a player, doesn't mean they're going to get him. Now, City, I believe, are quite open to Bernardo Silva leaving. They don't want him to go. Let's get this right. Same as they didn't want Mahrez to go, but they don't want to stand in the way of a player that wants to leave. There's no point in that. You only end up with an unhappy player and potentially a player that won't give his all for the club. And that's what you need. You need players who buy into Pep's systems, and to buy into Pep's philosophy, and basically, most of the time, do as they're told. And you don't want someone who doesn't want to be here, who wants to be away from Manchester for whatever reason, whether it's the weather, whether it's the money. Hello, Riyadh. 25 million reasons why Riyadh's going to Saudi Arabia. I'm not complaining. I'm not having a go at him, but I'm having a laugh at him. We are alive to still do that in this world. And game time. Game time is another reason why people want to move on. So I've got no qualms about Bernardo Silva wanting to go for whatever reason. City certainly don't want Bernardo Silva to leave. And the good thing about it, the kid has been ultra professional pretty much most of the time. I think there was a time where, I think the first year where his form dropped a little bit, but we saw last season he was a first name on that team sheet. Earlier in the season, Riyad Mahrez kind of made that right wing his own. I think that was probably just prior to or just post the World Cup. Mahrez was scoring goals, getting assists, looking dangerous. He looked like one of our most important players at the time. He looked like one of our most important players at the time. And then suddenly he was gone, and Bernardo Silva was back. And Riyad had a couple of not so effective games, let's be honest. And Bernardo was back. And then Pep we saw at the end of the season, Pep found his system. His mojo was back. We knew that Grealish would be on the left in the important games. We knew, obviously, Erling Haaland would be down the middle. We knew Bernardo Silva would be on the right. And behind him, we had KDB, Gundogan, Rodri. We knew all this. Edison in goal, and the defence. Actually, he could permit around, because when Nathan Ake was injured, it was actually probably easier to have Akanji Stones, Diaz, and one more, whether it's Walker, Lewis, Laporte, whoever, I think I've got my numbers right. But you get Johnny Stones, Diaz, Akanji, and one other. But when Ake was there, those 4 guys played. It was pretty simple, I think pretty straightforward. Okay, it's going to be interesting, obviously, when I've said it before, when Guardiola arrives, what happens, whether Laporte leaves. But hey, that's for a different video. So we know it's an open secret that Bernardo Silva's wanted to move on, but Barcelona, I've said it again and again and again, they cannot afford him. Now, they may covet him, they may have coveted him, but they could not afford him with the other players they wanted. Okay, now they got, even now there was this talk of still problems there getting Ilkay Gundogan registered. It's a crazy situation at an absolutely crazy club. They can't sort themselves out. Maybe eventually they will, and right now they're just ducking and diving, wheeling and dealing to make things happen. But I just cannot see them paying the money that City will require for Bernardo Silva. Now, City, I've said this many times, I believe City will let players go slightly cheaper than they should, just to get things done, get things moved on, get things expedited, as they say, and move on. So if Barcelona, for argument's sake, want Bernardo Silva, City will name a price. You pay the price. It might be lower than the going rate, but the guy moves on. We move on. We move on to acquiring a new target. The club moves on. The players move on. Okay. Now, Bernardo Silva is worth every penny of 80 million quid, even at his age in the late 20s, 28, 29. He's worth every penny of 80 million quid. But I believe City would let him go for 60, maybe even slightly less, because he gets the deal done, he gets the guy moved on, okay? But Barcelona couldn't do that. The other options open to Bernardo Silva wouldn't be in England. I could not see him moving anywhere in England. First, it's a competitor. He's annoyed so many opposition players and teams and fan bases, especially Liverpool, that I just couldn't see it happening. But potentially at Arsenal, because obviously the Arteta connection, but couldn't see it. Even Bernardo himself can see that moving to Arsenal is a massive step down. And we're going to see this season how good or not good Arteta really is at Arsenal. But I don't think Bernardo would go to any club in England. So that's that done. The other options, let's talk about PSG. That's another big step down. And look, PSG with Neymar, Mbappe, Messi is an enticing proposition to anybody. But Messi's gone. Mbappe wants out. Neymar isn't half the player he was a few years ago. So you go into a team, as I said, you're in your late 20s, you want to continue winning. You're not going somewhere to retire. You're not going somewhere to pick up a paycheck. You're going somewhere at that age, at the level Bernardo Silva is you're going somewhere to win trophies. And not any trophies. You're going there to win the big trophies. He's just bagged the treble. He's just bagged that three-peat on the Premier League. He's just bagged that Champions League trophy. And I bet your bottom dollar, he wants more of the same. So PSG challenging for the Champions League, not happening. It's not happening. They had a couple of opportunities where they got deep in the competition, a couple of semi-finals and a final, but they couldn't get over the line. And I just don't see it happening in the next few years either, as they actually get weaker, especially if they lose Mbappe, and they've lost Messi as well. They couldn't do it with those guys. It's going to be tough without those guys. So I can't see that. The other option we discussed weeks and weeks ago was the Saudi Arabia option. Now that would ensure that Bernardo was handsomely paid for his services, whatever that would be. If Riyad Mahrez is getting 25 million quid a year, then Bernardo Silva's worth more. Okay? But 25, 30 million quid, whatever it is, it could be. And I thought it was too early. Now, we've seen the Saudi project gather pace in recent times. We've seen younger players going, like Neves, and I think we'll see other players go, and they're going for the money. Let's be open and honest about it, and I'm sure most of them would be open and honest about it as well. Some of them will talk about the challenge, but this, as I said in Riyad Mahrez's case, 25 million good reasons why Riyad's going. So But I just think it's too early for Bernardo Silva. He's earning well at City, a couple of $100,000 a week. And it's rumoured now that Bernardo Silva will be extending his contract because, let's be honest, there's nowhere else to go. There's nowhere else to go. And he's probably more in love with City and more loved at City than anywhere else he can go. He's probably, as I said, fallen more and more deeply in love with Manchester and the weather, whatever. But it's rumoured that he's now going to be signing an extension to his contract. I think he's got a couple of years left on that. And that's fantastic news if that's the case. Look, he still might leave in 2 years' time, but we'll get good money for him. Okay, he might leave when Pep leaves, but I think we'll get good money for Bernardo Silva, somewhere in the region of what we deserve. It might be somewhere, if he is sold, we will get that 80 million or 70 million, whatever, but it'll be a good number. But for right now, Bernardo Silva looks like he's staying at City. I said this, I called it. As I said, I'm not an in the know, and just try and put 2 and 2 together and see what happens. Okay, same with Mahrez, 2 and 2 together, see what happens. He looked glum at the end of the season. Whatever he says, he looked glum. Okay, not playing in the FA Cup final, Champions League, and all that. He looked, not playing at the end of the season in the important league games. He knew, his first team certainty of a position was gone. Okay, Bernardo Silva wiped the floor with him, basically, in consistent performances. I think that was the key. So anyway, Bernardo looks like he's staying, looks like he's extending his contract. I, for one, am overjoyed. I'm absolutely ecstatic. Telling my voice, absolutely ecstatic that Bernardo Silva will be staying at City. He'll be here for the best years of his career, which are right now. And we can ill afford to lose another senior player. Gundogan's gone. We're gonna miss him, and I don't think fans are going to realise how much we're going to miss him until he's not there. Mahrez is gone. Walker could be going. Laporte could be going. Cancelo's a bag of, he's a trouble causer. So we could be losing a lot of senior players who've been here for years. And it's important, it's imperative we keep some senior players that possibly wanted out. And Bernardo Silva, top dog. Absolutely top dog. I'm over the moon, over that blue moon, that Bernardo Silva is staying at Manchester City. Guys, if you're new to the channel, it would be fantastic if you could subscribe to the channel, hit that bell icon so you're notified as soon as new videos come out. We'll see you around, Blues.